Oof. Alrighty, let's try that again, folks. It seems like a pesky connection follows us wherever we are in the country. Alright, I'll wait till we get some more folks here, and then I'll be a little bit more succinct and get right to their stories. Thank you, Angela R., for circling back here. Looks like some people are filtering on. I should have known better when I'm looking out either side of the car and I'm surrounded by cornfields, thinking that I'm going to be able to have a clean and coherent live post. So here we go. Welcome back. Thank you, Belinda. We are back, and just a little internet connection, all is well. But let's cut right to the chase. The small cat crisis persists. I'm sure many of you read our e-newsletter this morning. And right now, Alyssa and I have 2 rescued bobcats in tow back to their forever home here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And I'd like to start talking about Simba. Simba, who is the 6-year-old Bob who you met on that e-newsletter. I'm going to be turning around the camera here in a moment. But glad to see everybody's filtering back here. And let's get to some cat stories and meeting these 2. So... Makes me really happy to see Simba out like a light, as well as Jax. But let's talk Mr. Simba's story. So Tammy is the rescue coordinator for the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance. Tammy received a call on a bobcat in need of a home, and understandably so, she reached out to the accredited sanctuaries within the BCSA. She reached out to AZA zoos, and nobody has space for a bobcat. The small cat crisis, as I started out this live post, and as you constantly hear us talk about at the Wildcat Sanctuary, it is persistent. And it is a daily thing that affects bobcats, servals, caracals, hybrid cats, and so much to a point where there is hardly any space in accredited sanctuaries and zoos for these rescues. And it wasn't until learning Mr. Simba's story that Mr. Simba, and Alyssa and I have already been kind of joking to ourselves how many times we're going to switch Kimba and Simba with one another, but you can see Mr. Simba just napping away there. But it wasn't until we learned Simba's story that Tammy kind of realized that the Wildcat Sanctuary would be the best place for this guy, and that we were going to do whatever possible to make sure that he had space and that we could accommodate him. But Mr. Simba was living at an out-of-state facility after he was confiscated for being illegally owned as a pet. Certainly a story we've all heard before. And at this facility, Simba is not a very social bobcat. He doesn't like humans. He doesn't like other cats. He was on a tour path, so to speak, and was on display and was not doing well when it comes to kind of his location. There's too many people, too many cats, and 6-year-old Simba here was just not in a situation that he deserved to be. And so knowing that a cat like Simba, who kind of has an aversion to people, has an aversion to kind of the hustle and bustle of maybe a zoo environment, is really going to benefit from the peace and serenity, and of course the individualized care from people like Alyssa here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, and all of you, our supporters. And so Mr. Simba is certainly a lovely dude. But of course, Mr. Simba is not the only bobcat involved in this rescue. And right next to Mr. Simba, you can see a much smaller crate. And for that reason, because there's a much smaller bobcat in there, you can see a little bit. Of some ears here. I'm gonna zoom in on Baby Jax, who is out like a light. And Baby Jax so far during this car ride, and man, along with Simba, has been napping. Baby Jax has been doing some kneading, baking some biscuits on his little blanket in his crate. And we also did a little snack stop for these boys when we were getting some gas. And both Simba and Baby Jax were able to enjoy a few chicken pieces, which was good to see. But Baby Jax, everyone, I think when you all read Baby Jax's story, you can only imagine kind of how close that hits to home with us here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, in particular with Tammy, and that a bobcat kitten was brought into a wildlife rehab center, and this bobcat kitten was hypoglycemic and had anemia. And this bobcat kitten also had some cloudy and scarred eyes and had some vision issues. So we hear about a special needs bobcat kitten in need, and understandably so, the first thing Tammy thinks about is one of our legacy rescues, Bobcat Baby Jenga, who is exactly that, a bobcat kitten with special needs, in need of rescue. And so, man, oh man, that's something that we knew that we would be the right place for Jax, and knowing that we've been able to help cats like him, knowing that he's a young bobcat and he's going to be living a full and compassionate life here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, and knowing that the specialized medical care that we offer so many of our rescues is something that Baby Jax is going to benefit from as well. So truly, as always, it's a privilege to be able to rescue any type of cat and bring them to their forever home here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, but still not without acknowledging the surplus of these small cats that are happening here in the rescue world, and how kind of the lack of space, and understandably so, because sanctuaries and zoos are inundated with calls after call after call of small cat in need of home. But here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, no matter what, we're going to do our best to try to step up for these rescues. So as you can see, very tired Bobs here. I think the live post got the best of me last time, but I was mentioning that we did have both the crates covered. Baby Jax likes being able to see his humans up front, and we got a little growling from Simba when it was covered, and we haven't got any growling since it's been uncovered. So both cats napping away. Simba was kind of sitting sternal and watching the drive for a little bit, and I mentioned earlier that Baby Jax was doing some biscuit baking, some kneading on his blankets. I think Alyssa even saw a catnip toy in there. But Simba, who in his former home, Simba, one of his favorite things was a cat tree, an artificial cat tree, and I love how Tammy and Julie included this in the newsletter. Well, we can only imagine if the cat tree was one of his favorite things, one of the artificial cat trees was one of his favorite things in his previous home. What is this guy going to think of a real tree and real grass and real bushes to finally be able to feel like a bobcat and be able to isolate himself in our free-roaming habitats, to be able to be treated with respect by our caretakers who are going to understand a shy bob like him. Man, oh man, Mr. Simba, I'm excited. But I'm not excited to crisscross your name with Kimba about every single time I do a live post with you. I can already sense it, mister. Those are some sleeping bobs back there. I've kind of been in a weird position, so I just want to flip back the camera and make sure I'm catching up on some comments here. Kind of a two-parter live post because the internet got the best of me. But if you'd like to learn about how we are ahead of schedule, you can watch the first live post. Kind of talked about how, not to anybody's fault, but the pickup actually happened a lot earlier than we imagined. Long story short, Alyssa and I got a little less sleep to recover for the return trip, which is totally fine. We've been able to supplement with plenty of caffeine. Alyssa crashed during my kind of night shift and morning shift, and I'm going to be doing some much needed napping after this live post to kind of finish out the anchor leg of the journey strong. But surely, as many of you know, and on these rescue journeys, it's go, go, go when we have the cats in our possession. It's only stops for gas. It's maybe seeing to see if we can top off their water or offer them any chicken pieces. But at the end of the day, it's ensuring the quickest and safest journey for the rescues involved. And if it means leaving at 1 a.m. when we were planning on leaving at 7 a.m., that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and we're gonna stand up and do for what's right for the rescues involved. Just catching up on some more comments here. See if anybody has any questions about Jax or Mr. Simba here. And I also appreciate if maybe I'm flubbing my words or sounding like a crazy person. I am running on little to no sleep here. Hey, Debbie Sam saying, can hardly wait to see them at TWS enjoying the rest of their life in an amazing sanctuary. Hear, hear, Debbie. Love that comment. Simba and Kimba, Lori, yep. They could be the next miracle match. Well, look at that. Now, and talk about an even easier way to trip me up with pronouncing their names. Maria Stahl saying, they're just adorable. They certainly are. They've been really wonderful passengers so far, and even if they're a little bit cranky, I wouldn't blame them either way. And nonetheless, happy to hear that they're enjoying their journey so far. Daniel, what's going on, mister? Hope all is well. Thanks for tuning in today. Let's see here. A lot of safe travels. Thank you, Faith. Excuse me. Precious kitties from Arlene Ramirez. And nonetheless, everyone, Ellen Simmons saying we'll be anxiously awaiting a vet report on Baby Jax's eyes. As always, with all of our new rescues, they're going to be having an intake exam, and that's right, Ellen. We already know that there's some cloudiness to Jax's eyes. There's some scarring, and so him having some vision issues is something that we're aware of, and now for us to kind of find out the extent of his vision issues. I don't want to speak out of turn, but even when Alyssa and I were doing just feeding Jax a little snack on our ride here during a pit stop, we did notice that he was having a little trouble. He was smelling the chicken, but he couldn't find exactly where the tongue was. So, but you know, maybe that's just him waking up from a nap and you know, not really looking clearly. But we're going to find out exactly, of course, with Dr. Campbell, which I think is a great segue too of, you know, obviously there's a variety of ways to give new rescues a warm Wildcat Sanctuary welcome. In-house, one of the things that we do, of course, is set them up in the best way possible with a wellness exam, or an intake exam, I should say, to get a baseline read on their health, to be able to get a better understanding of how we're going to be able to cater and curtail their care directly and individualized to that cat. And of course, we like setting up a support system for our cats through our sponsorship program. And a cat like Simba and a cat like Baby Jax over here, they're going to be individual payments if you'd like to do monthly payments of a sponsorship of $25 if I'm not mistaken, or you can do an annual payment of $300. So that obviously is a great way to welcome Baby Jax and Baby Jenga to their new Wild at Heart life at the sanctuary. But hey, maybe you just like to chip in to help cover the cost of a sponsorship. If we can raise $300, heck, if we can even raise half the amount of a sponsorship, so $150 on this live post, that would be immense. I'll be able to zoom in a little bit on this handsome man. Kind of getting a lot of flashes of Glenn. I think Simba and Glenn have a lot of similar physical characteristics. They kind of have yellow eyes, which I think are just beautiful, kind of a soft honey color, and of course that kind of more darker brown gray as opposed to a white gray. Baby Jax has his head up here, so I'm going to zoom in on that handsome man. And I hope everyone's been enjoying themselves so far, meeting the two newest rescues from our Wild at Heart family. Kind of in a unique yoga position to be turning around doing a 180 like this, so I don't know how long I'm going to last, Baby Jax. And of course, there's no redundancies in safety. Alyssa and I, upon receiving these two cats, of course, we knocked out all of our vet paperwork and USDA paperwork, and then applied some zip ties to secure the crates even more. So no punching out of the doors, no popping the lids off, and no popping the back off. Morning, Jack, says Jeremy. Yeah, Jack says, howdy to you. Well, he says, well, I gotta go back for another nap here, because I've been needing. I've been playing with my catnip toy in there. Things have been pretty good. But it makes me happy to see Mr. Simba so comfortable, and I think we all knew that Mr. Jax was going to be quite comfortable. That's also one of the reasons of when he was brought into this wildlife rehabber, that suspicions that he most likely was a captive-born bobcat, because he was very affectionate towards humans, purring and purring away. Oh, and a big yawn from a Baby Jax. Look at those marvelous bobcat teeth you have there, handsome. Yeah. All right, you two. Well, cool, everyone. I'm really happy that at least on the live post we were able to give a formal introduction. Since our kind of timing and schedule, I'll flip the camera here, was moved forward. I was kind of hoping to do more live posts through the duration of the day, but I kind of had to wait for the e-news to go out, and of course we're doing this now. But I'm going to see it's all about, again, maintaining the best time as possible and the safest way possible for the cats. So if we stop and do another water break or a snack break, I perhaps might do another live post. Otherwise, the next live post you'd be seeing from the rescue journey would be our arrival to Sanctuary. But for now, I need to catch up on some much needed Z's. And I'm sure the Bobs will prefer a little less chatting in the cab here too. But nonetheless, everyone, thank you for joining us on this road to rescue. Alyssa and I are hoping to be back right around 5 to 6 p.m. So please, 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 and I know Olivia and the team back home are going to be sharing more about these cats for you to be able to engage there, and of course consider a sponsorship for one of them. But again, hopefully, we can drive to maybe cover the cost of a sponsorship right on this post, which would be $300. Hey, maybe we can't reach $300, but maybe we can knock out half of it at $150. Maria Stahl, oh, that is just music to my ears. I'm going to go have a good cat nap myself. I can assure you I might not look as graceful as Simba and Mr. Baby Jax in the back there, but it's going to be much needed. And Baby Jax just popped up one more time, so I just want to... He says, yes, plane, trains, and automobiles. It's been a fun day, mister. He says, I'm looking this way. You'll be able to see my beautiful face soon. All right, Mr. Jaxers. He says, I'm doing my own thing. I think he's got his catnip ball in the corner. All right, everyone. From Melissa and I and the rescue journey home back to the Wildcat Sanctuary, thanks for tuning in this morning. Thanks for turning out today to welcome Baby Jax and Mr. Simba to our Wild at Heart family, and thank you for making moments like this possible. All right, everyone, we'll hear from you soon, and much appreciated for tuning in today, and hopefully next time we'll see you, we'll be back at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Bye, everyone.